Good evening all. Am I audible? Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So let me share the screen. In the previous class, we were discussing about inverse Z transform, and the task here is to find out inverse Z transform for three conditions. Okay. First condition, ROC Z greater than 1. Second, ROC Z less than 0.5. Third condition, Z is greater than, sorry, I made a mistake here. Z is greater than 0.5 and less than 1. This is the condition. Okay, greater than 0.5 but less than 1. So for these ROCs we need to find out inverse Z transform. So what is the first thing we have to do? We have to convert it into, if Z inverse is there, we need to convert it into Z form. We can deal with the Z inverse also in next problem, that is also there. For this particular problem, we have converted it into Z form by taking Z inverse whole square as a common. Okay, in this method you can do, or you can continue with the Z inverse itself, and finally answer will also be there in Z inverse. So you have to make it in the form of Z at the end itself. Okay, so both the answers are valid. Now we have to first apply the quadratic equation formula, that is in calculator you can find out the roots, then you can write it in the fraction form. Okay, this form. Now after that you have to make x of z by z if it is z square. If it is z only, then no problem, because already we know standard form will be z divided by z minus 1 or z divided by z minus alpha, like that. So in that form it is okay. Z square irodna adake z is x z divided by z we have taken, and then apply the partial fractions. Once you get the results, you have to now look at the conditions. Already I have written here. Above equation is in the standard form. So this is the standard form. Andreno plus minus ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು, multiplication ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. So 2z is one term, and this z divided by z minus 0.5 is another term. Now we can apply the inverse z transform. We can apply the inverse z transform based on the ROC given. So in this case 1 is z is greater than 1. Z is greater than 1 means it is obviously greater than 0.5 also. So what he is telling in the first one is, if there is a pole at 0.5 and there is a pole at 1, ROC.
ಬಾಯ್ ಕಣವ್
ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಬಾನು
Okay. Now our ROC is greater than this pole means it is a right sided sequence. 0.5 and 1 greater than 0.1 means greater than 0.5 also. So we will get 2 into 1 to the power n u of n 0.5 to the power n u of n for our two terms. One term is this one, second term is this one. Both are right sided sequence. That is the meaning of given ROC. Okay. So combined value for x of z is equal to 2z by z minus 1 minus z divided by z minus 0.5. For that we have inverse z transform as 2 into 1 to the power n u of n minus 0.5 to the power n u of n for ROC z greater than 1. Now for second condition, what is ROC? ROC is given as magnitude of z less than 0.5. So first you have to check what is the meaning of this. Say there is a pole at 0.5. From where I am telling that there is a pole at 0.5? From this equation itself. Z minus 1 equal to 0 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ z equal to 1 pole. Z minus 0.5 that is denominator term equal to 0 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ z equal to 0.5 is another pole. So 0.5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು pole ಇದೆ, 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು pole ಇದೆ. What is telling is ROC is lesser than 0.5. Z is lesser than 0.5. So if I draw a circle like this and if I draw a circle like this, ROC is inside both of these circles, including ಅಂದ್ರೆ 0.5 ಗಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 ಗಿಂತನೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಈ 0.5 ಗಿಂತ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಇದು 1 ಗಿಂತನೂ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಎರಡು ಪೋಲ್ ಇಂದ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಆಸ್ x of n is equal to ಇದೇ ಸೇಮ್ x of z ಗೆ x of n ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ -2 1 to the power n u of minus n minus 1 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈನಸ್ 0.5 to the power n. Let me erase this one. Minus 0.5 to the power n minus u of minus n minus 1. Okay, so this if I simplify and write minus 2 u of minus n minus 1 minus of minus plus 0.5 to the power n u of minus n minus 1. So this is the sequence, that is x of n for ROC z less than 0.5. Now let us look at case 3. ROC is magnitude of z is greater than 0.5 but less than 1. So for this, let us write the equation again. X of z, we know that x of z is equal to 2z divided by z minus 1 minus z divided by z minus 0.5. Correct? So this is our equation. In that z is greater than 0.5, that means this is a right sided sequence. Z is less than 1 andre this is a left sided sequence. Left sided sequence, right sided sequence. Why it is so? Let me draw the ROC here. Idu 0.5 pole andre idu 1 pole. Okay na? ROC is greater than 0.5 but lesser than 1. So it is in between these two circles. So 1 ಇಂದ ಈ ಕಡೆ 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ROC ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. 0.5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 0.5 ಯಾವ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಈ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ಗೆ, ಇದು ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್. ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ 0.5 to the power n u of n as the inverse Z transform. ಮೈನಸ್ ಎ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ -2 1 into n. 1 ಯಾಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 1 ಇದೆ. ಸೊ 1 into n u of -n minus 1. So this is the sequence 2 into 1 to the power n. So what I can simply write, instead of writing -2 into n, -2 u of -n minus 1 minus 0.5 n u of n. ಇದು ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಕದಿದ್ರು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. So this is our x of z for the third condition. Let us check whether we have got the same answers. Yes. For the second one, since poles are at z is equal to 1 and 0.5, ROC greater than 1, it includes both. This is the first case. Okay. First case already we have done. Second case, here I have shown the ROC. You can see clearly 0.5 and 1. It is inside 0.5. That means it is inside 1 also. So it is both the sequences are left sided. Left sided sequence ge non causal anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Both are non causal. Okay. Now, as I have already told you, this will be minus. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೈನಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇಂಟು ಮೈನಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್. -2 plus 0.5 to the power n. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 1 to the power n ನೆಗ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ u of -n minus 1 ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈನ್. Then third one, z is greater than 0.5. That means the sequence corresponding to this is non-causal, whereas sequence corresponding to this is causal. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ z is greater than 0.5 less than 1. So less than 1 ಅಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ this response we have got. Okay. So final answer is this one, as I have already derived it. Okay. Same answer we have got. So this is how you need to find out inverse Z transform for the given sequence. Is it clear? Shall we move on to the next problem? So this is also a similar kind of problem. That's why I have taken. What is given here? Using partial fractions expansion method, obtain the time domain signal corresponding to Z transform given below. So this is Z transform given. Here no need to fractionalize. Andre first ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಏನು ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, 1 minus 1.5 z inverse plus z to the power -2 ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು in terms of fractions or roots ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? So this is not required, already given in the expanded form. Okay. ರೂಟ್ ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ no complexity involved here. So directly as given x of z, you need to find out x of n for z greater than 1 by 2, z less than 1 by 4, z is between 1 by 4 and 1 by 2. 1 by 4 andre 0.25 ಇಂದ z ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 0.5 ವರೆಗೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 0.25 ಬಟ್ ಲೆಸರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 0.5. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ರೀಜನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಜೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು x of n ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ us first go through this one. Here one extra point I am adding in this problem. What is that? ಯಾವುದೇ x of z inverse z transform ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, how many zeros are there, that is denominator ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು z ಪವರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. z ಪವರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, 1 ಇದೆ. ಸೊ m is equal to 1 ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. How many z's are there in the numerator? 1, 2. That means n is equal to 2. This 1 corresponds to number of zeros. This 2 corresponds to number of poles. When zeros are less than poles, we can directly apply the partial fractions. When zeros are less than number of poles, number of zeros it should be, when number of zeros are less than number of poles, we can directly apply the partial fractions. Okay, otherwise we have to use long division method. Andre number of zeros ಇವಾಗ 2 ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ number of poles 2 ಇತ್ತು, ಅಥವಾ m is equal to 3, n is equal to 2. In both these cases, either equal or m is greater than n. In both these cases, we need to apply long division method for 1 or 2 steps. Then we have to use the partial fractions. That is the rule. So please make a note of it. In the notes it is not explicitly mentioned, but here I have mentioned in a brief manner. If m is less than n, we can apply the partial fractions. Or zeros are less than poles, we can apply the partial fractions. What are zeros? Number of z terms in the numerator, sorry, and number of z terms in the denominator, we consider them as a poles. Okay, is that clear? Now applying the partial fractions, you all of you know that how to apply the partial fractions. I have considered one term as a1, another one as a2. Here we are multiplying with z inverse only. Z anta ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, how to find out a1? a1 is 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse into x of z, with z is equal to 1 by 2. I am taking z is equal to 1 by 2. Z is equal to 1 by 2 andre z inverse is equal to 2. So z inverse, if I substitute 2 here, 2 and 2 will cancel, 1 minus 1 is 0. So this way of finding a1 and a2 you know already. So a1 is 1, a1 is 1. Similarly, a2 is minus 1. a2 is minus 1. So already you know that partial fraction, how to calculate the values of a1 and a2 using partial fractions. That's why I am running through it. I want to make clear the concept in the finding out of inverse transform after the partial fractions. That's why please make sure that you revisit the partial fractions. Okay, so what we get x of z as 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 4 z inverse. So for the given problem, this is third problem we are solving. In this, what we get is 1 divided by 1 minus 2 z inverse minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 4 z inverse. Okay, now we have to apply case 1. What is the ROC for case 1? Magnitude of z is greater than 1 by 2. Let us draw. What are the poles here? Poles is one is 1 by 2, another is 1 by 4. How to find out? ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಇದು ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ I will write it here. What you have to do? What are the poles means? 1 divided by 1 minus 2 z inverse is equal to 0 ಅಂತ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ what you will get? 1 by 2 z inverse minus 1 by 2 z inverse is equal to minus 1, or you will get that minus 1 by 2 z is equal to minus 1. Okay, z is equal to 1 by 2. This is your one pole. Okay, another pole similarly you will get z is equal to 1 by 4. Either you use z inverse or z minus 1 by 2, z divided by z minus 1 by 2. Both the ways you will get same 1 by 2 and 1 by 4 as poles. Andre, you know, there is a pole at 1 by 4 and there is a pole at 1 by 2. And ROC, what we are looking at, ROC magnitude of z is greater than 1 by 2. Andre ROC ಈ outer circle ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. So it is outside this. So if you look at this pole towards its right, ROC. If you look at this pole also towards its right, ROC. So both the terms will be right sided sequences. U of n ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎರಡು sequences ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. Since magnitude of z is equal to 1 by 2 and z is equal to 1 by 4 are the two poles, this implies ROC is outside outermost pole, magnitude z is equal to 1 by 2. Both the terms are right sided or causal. Okay, this implies x of n is equal to 1 by 2 to the power n. ಹೇಗೆ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ 1 by 2 to the power n? Because we know that a to the power n u of n ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದರ z ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ 1 divided by 1 minus a into z inverse. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ a ಏನು 1 by 2 ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. That's why 1 by 2 to the power n reverse ಅಲ್ಲಿ into u of n minus, because here we have a minus, we'll put this minus here. 1 divided by 1 minus 4, 1 minus 1 by 4 z inverse. So comparing with this, ಇಲ್ಲಿ a ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ 1 by 4 ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬರೀತೀವಿ 1 by 4 to the power n u of n. So this is for magnitude of z greater than 1 by 2. Is that clear? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Second ROC, z is less than 1 by 4. So again write 1 by 4, 1 by 2. These are the two poles. Draw two circles, one around with the radius 1 by 4, another with radius 1 by 2. ROC is what? It is inside this 1 by 4. Inside the 1 by 4. So inside 1 by 4 means it is for this pole also it is towards the left. For 1 by 4 pole also it is towards the left. Correct? For both the poles it is towards the left. ROC region of convergence is towards the left. That's why since magnitude of z is less than 1 by 4, both the terms are left sided. Okay, both the terms are left sided. What are both the terms? X of n minus 1 by 2 to the power n u of minus n minus 1 minus minus of 1 by 4 to the power n u of minus n minus 1. So this would be minus 1 by 2. Sorry, I need to put the bracket. So ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರೀತೀರಾ ಇದನ್ನ? minus 1 by 2 to the power n u of minus n minus 1. Minus of minus is plus 1 by 4 to the power n u of minus n minus 1. So this is x of n when ROC is lesser than 1 by 4. First one greater than ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಎರಡು ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಇವಾಗ ಎರಡು ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ minus a to the power n u of minus n minus 1. So here again those who don't remember, for them a to the power n minus of u of u of minus n minus 1. For this z transform is 1 divided by 1 minus a into z inverse. For magnitude of z less than a, greater than a ಇದ್ರೆ u of n ಬರುತ್ತೆ, less than a ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ inverse z transform is this. So wherever a is there we will put 1 by 2 and 1 by 4. By that rule we have got this one. Okay, so already we have calculated these two, you can see here, correct? These are the answers we have got. Now final one, this is the final case. Case 3. In this, magnitude of z is greater than 1 by 4 but it is less than 1 by 2. So again to solve this we need to look into x of z. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸಾರಿ ಬರೆದ್ರು ಏನು ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ, please write it. 1 divided by what is z transform given, 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse, one minus 1 by 2 z inverse minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 4 z inverse. Correct alwa? This is our x of z which we have found by partial fractions. Final answer for x of z. Now here z is greater than 1 by 4 andre ee term right sided, less than 1 by 2 this is left sided. So what is the equation, standard equation we have? Again I will write the equation so that you will become used to it. A to the power n u of n will give us z transform 1 divided by 1 minus a z inverse if z is greater than a, magnitude of a. Okay, similarly if this is the z transform it will give us inverse z transform as a to the power n u of n, and the same z transform if magnitude of z is lesser than magnitude of a, then it will give us minus a to the power n u of minus n minus 1. Okay, so here is the problem, z is greater than 1, z is less than 1. So for the left sided sequence this is what we have to write, for the right sided this is what we have to write, because in this you can see this is z is greater than 1 by 4. So for this term, z is greater than 1 by 4 valid. Z is less than 1 by 2. For this term, z is less than 1 by 2 is valid. Okay, that's why x of n is equal to minus 1 by 2 to the power n u of minus n minus 1 minus, this is right sided, so 1 by 4 to the power n u of n. So this is the answer. If you are able to analyze this much, you will get 8 marks for this particular problem. Is that clear? I have clearly written ROC is z greater than 1 by 4, less than 1 by 2, then x of n is a two-sided sequence. First term is right sided and the second term is left sided. Okay, that is, if z is greater than 1 by, we can consider as first term, what I mean is 1 by 4, sorry, 1 divided by 1 minus 4 z inverse is first term. Second term, what I mean is 1 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse. Okay, this is left sided. That's why it is having a minus here, and minus 1. Okay, so you carefully look here, it is not minus 1 by 2 inside the bracket, it is outside the brackets. If at all you had 1 divided by 1 plus 1 by 2, then you would have got minus 1 by 2, and here 1 plus 1 by 4, then you would have got here again minus. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. 1 by 4 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್. Similarly, we have another problem which is z square minus 3z by, here you can see it is with respect to not z inverse, with respect to z is given. So you can either convert it to in the form of say z square, that is partial fractions in a complex manner, z square minus 3z divided by z square plus 3 by 2 z minus 1, or you simply take z square as common. With this, if you take z square as common, what you will get? 1 minus 3 into z inverse. And in the denominator also, if you take z square as common, what you will get? 1 plus 3 by 2 z inverse minus z to the power minus 2. Z square and z square will cancel out, and you can see now instead of 2 zeros, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ z ಎಷ್ಟು z ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ m ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 or 3 actually, z square 2, ಇದು 1 ಅಂತ. So if you look at it now, it has become only z inverse 1 0. m is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 2. So m is less than 1, number of zeros less than poles. We can use the partial fractions. So similar way, we have used the partial fractions, and ROC given is greater than 1 by 2 less than 2. Andre one the term that is greater than 1 by 2, what we get is right sided, less than 2 will be left sided sequence. So after solving, you can see here, this is the result. So for this one, it is a left sided. You can see here ಇಲ್ಲಿ plus ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ minus ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ 2 same, this 2 I will write it as minus 2 because of left sided, u of minus n minus 1, whereas this one 1 by 2 1 by 2 is here. This is a right sided, whereas this is a left side. Is that clear? Shall I move on to the next problem? Yes? Please let me know whether you are understanding or not. Okay, let us move on to the next problem, which is very important in terms of application of your knowledge already learned. Here you can see clearly there are 1 and 2. M is equal to 2, two zeros, and 2 poles. N is equal to 2. Because number of poles, number of zeros, we need to take consider zeros is equal to number of poles. We cannot apply partial fractions directly. So what we'll do, we apply the long division method for the first term. What we have to do, the numerator will write it inside, that is 1 plus, let me write the problem, 1 plus 2z inverse plus z inverse square. X of z is given as, fourth one I have explained there itself, 1 plus 2z inverse plus z inverse square divided by 1 minus 3 by 2 z inverse plus 1 by 2 z inverse square. So here, as I have told, number of zeros and number of poles are 2 in number, and m is equal to n. So we cannot apply the partial fraction directly. So what we'll do, we'll go through the long division method and separate it out. I will write in the reverse order so that it is easy for us to get the separated terms. So z to the power minus 2 plus 2z inverse plus 1. Okay. Yes. Z to the power minus 2, 2z inverse plus 1. And here 1 by 2 z to the power minus 2 minus 3 by 2 z inverse plus 1. Okay. Now if you multiply this, here 1 by 2 z inverse square is there, here z inverse square is there. So to get z inverse square, I have to multiply it by 2. If I multiply it with 2, what I will get? Z inverse square, and this is minus 3 into 2 divided by 2. So it is minus 3z inverse, and this one plus 1 with 2. It is 2. So this is, here it cancels out, here plus and this is minus. So this is 5z inverse minus 1. So actually now we will get x of z as, x of z is equal to 2 plus 5z inverse minus 1 divided by 1 by 2 z to the power minus 2 minus 3 by 2 z to the power minus 1 plus 1. So now this 2 we already know what is the inverse Z transform. It is 2 into delta of n. Directly we can write at the end. That's why we will solve the Z transform only for this term. Okay, how to solve you already know how to solve it. Now again forgot to mention that now you can see the number of zeros, only one here. This is 1 0, this is another. So one z term m is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, m is less than n. Apply the partial fractions. Apply the partial fractions, then you will get 2 plus, let me write that x of z here. One divided 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse and 1 minus z inverse. Okay, 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse, 1 minus z inverse. Before applying partial fractions, this is the form you will get. From where you have got, you in your calculator you apply the quadratic equation formula and you will get that the roots are 1 by 2 and 1. So using that you can write it like this. Now you can apply partial fractions for this and get the values as 2 plus, what is the value, minus 9 and plus 8. So 2 minus 9 minus 9 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse plus 8 divided by 1 minus z inverse. So let me rewrite it. So this is the answer we have got. Now x of z is this one. For this we need to find out what? We need to find out x of n. X of n, that is inverse z transform, and it is given that ROC is z greater than 1. Z greater than 1 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಸಂಬಂಧ ಬೀಳಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಆಫ್ n it is. So what we get is 2 into delta of n inverse z transform x of n, that is applying inverse z transform minus 9 into 1 by 2 to the power n u of n plus 8 into 1 to the power n u of n. This is our x of n. Okay. So you can see here, this is the answer we have got. Correct? And similar kind of problem has been given here, and this is the easiest one. You can see so this is the problem given, and when you factorize it, it will become 1 minus 2 into z inverse divided by 1 minus 2 z inverse 1 minus 1 by 2 z inverse. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಇದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಯುವರ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಝಡ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಝಡ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನ್ ಏನು, ಸೊ ಕಂಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಎ ಇಂಟು ಯು ಆಫ್ ಎನ್, z transform is 1 divided by 1 minus a into that inverse. So inverse that transform is a to the power n u of n. So 1 by 2 to the power n u of n. So directly you can write. Assuming that here again, assuming that z is greater than 1 by 2. Z is greater than 1 by 2. Okay. If it is less than 1 by 2, then you have to write. What you have to write? Less than 1 by 2 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, you are assuming. ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ? Less than 1 by 2 ಅಂದ್ರೆ minus of 1 by 2 to the power n u of minus n minus 1 when z is less than 1 by 2 given. ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದೇ ಆನ್ಸರ್. Is that clear? In the next 1 or 2 classes we will complete the Z transforms, that is transform analysis of LTI system. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ Z ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮುಗೀತು. ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ as I have already told, I will share the notes from the textbook that you can refer. Already every kind of Z transform problem I have solved. Inverse Z also, Z transform also. So ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಯಾವುದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ LTI ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ from page number 41 to the 57 you will get at least 10 marks. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ. ಈಸಿಯರ್, it is easier only when you understand inverse Z transform. Okay, so it is very easy. Transform analysis of LTI system is very easy. You must learn this. So now let us end the session and take the attendance. Wait for a second.